God is very strict on His word about clarifying that there is only one God and one Lord, and there is no other. Despite the world always be speaking about gods, they created millions of gods, God said that every idol is a lie because there's only one God. There are idols, but God, there's only one. In the 10 Commandments, the first commandment clarifies this. The God is one, and only Him is God, and the people should have no carved images of any likeness of God or in heaven or below on earth. Why is this? It is because humans have the tendency to prostitute themselves spiritually. And it is not only with images of wood, plaster, or metal that you hang on the wall or around your neck. Anything that you place above God or in the same level as God, anything that you raise above what should really matter in your life, that becomes your idol. Whether father, mother, work, money, a dream, or yourself, your own image, your social media, anything can become an idol. An idol means something that you worship, where your effort, your energy, your service, your work is applied. The best of you goes after that. You serve that. You live to serve that. And you attribute your happiness to it. Yes. When someone treats something or someone as an idol, they attribute to that idol their unhappiness. And woe to those who touch it or say something about it, to criticize it, as some, just because I'm talking about it, they become angry because I'm touching in their idol. But I'm here to preach the word and not to please anyone. I'm saying what God teaches us in His word. We see that since the beginning of humanity, when humans lost touch with God, when they left Eden, it didn't take long for idolatry to be installed on earth. We see that even in the patriarchs, the founders of the chosen nation, the chosen people, in their families, there was idolatry. Joshua 24 verse 2, it says that's the father of Abraham, Terah, and their fathers, they served other gods. Which means, what happened to gods back on those days? As people didn't have any contact with God anymore, they started to live by the strength of their own arms. And on our own strength, we can only go so far. There's a limit. But as humans are programmed to be spiritual beings, because they have spirits, they are body, soul, and spirit. They can even call themselves atheists. They don't stop being spiritual. An atheist does not stop being spiritual. So, if they don't channel their faith on God, they'll channel it on something else, whether science, themselves, superstition. I will wear clothes on this color because it will make me lucky. I follow this star because it brings me luck. So the person will attribute their faith on something or someone. So how did idols came about? Humans facing challenges and problems and having no contact with God, they couldn't count on God to overcome these problems. Then they started to create gods for themselves. God, the sun, is the one that will give me prosperity, fertility. The God of the sun, of the rain, for millennia. Humans worshipped the sun, the rain. Why? Because the sun and the rain is what brings fertility to the land. So, an agriculturist people needed fertility. If there was no sun, no rain, the elements of nature, men wouldn't reap the fruits of the earth. They would starve to death. So men started to worship the sun as a god, the rain as a god. They created God, who they thought had power to make it rain, to stop raining, and so on and so forth. So men started to create these gods in their own minds to help them with what they were missing. They were gimmicks of God himself. They were ways to replace God and to serve in a lousy way as something that they could lean on when humans reached their limits. And it is when idolatry came about. And humans are masters on this, creating gods. Everything that they are missing in their lives, they'll look for something. You see this amongst wealthy people, celebrities. Because usually a poor person, they say, if I have money, I'll solve this problem. All my problems will be solved. So a poor person is chasing after money, and they don't focus on the fact that the wealthy person have so much money they cannot spend it all, but they cannot solve their problems too. Money helps, but it cannot solve everything. So rich people have lots of money, and with lots of money they think, money does not fill the gap I have in my life, doesn't bring me peace, at times the opposite. Money has its limitations. So when a rich person, a millionaire, a billionaire, perceives a gaping hole, a lack of purpose, a lack of meaning to their own lives, what do? They look for experiences. I'll buy an island. I'll build a house. I'll throw parties, orgies. I'll bring women, men. I will close the island just for myself, and no one will criticize me. No one will come on the way. Then they try to fill themselves with something along these lines. Or they will say, I'll make a trip. I will take a backpack and I'll find myself. They train themselves. They prepare themselves. They buy the tickets. They hire a guide and they climb a mountain in the Himalayas. They walk bare feet throughout India. They dive to the deep ocean to see the Titanic, what is left of the shipwreck. I will create a submarine and I'll go there to see what is left. And so on and so forth. Humans start to invent things. I want to go to the moon, to Mars, to Venus. I want to look for a black hole. They keep looking for it. Why? Because they cannot find anything in this world. Absolutely nothing. No money, no adventure, no pleasure, no men, no women. Nothing brings the satisfaction that they are looking for. Why? Because you can only find it in God. God has placed within us a space that only Him can fill it. It is the missing piece of the puzzle. It's the final piece. It has to be the right one. There's a missing piece in your puzzle. This piece is God, and you keep trying to fit another piece that will not fit in. These are idols, anything at all that promises some pleasure, some meaning, relief, and escape to someone who does not have this gap filled by God. They will go after it, and that becomes their God. It can be anything. It can be football, their favorite singer, a movie, anything in this world that brings them some moment of pleasure, of ecstasy. And the person says, now I found my happiness. But it passes, and it doesn't solve the problem. These are idols. Idols haven't ceased to exist. Though the Bible condemns idols from Genesis to Revelation, though the Bible proclaimed this through the prophets to John in Revelation, but people pretend to be deaf, and they keep trying to fill the gap in their souls with some sort of idol. And we must be attentive, because Christians think, I don't have images in my house. Okay, but this is just a grotesque form of idol. But there are different forms of idols, and without realizing, you might be creating to yourself or replacing God in your life. We're going to talk more about this in the following days. And if you are interested about this topic, the Bible speaks deeply and it touches God's own heart, then pay attention to the upcoming messages, because we will talk more about it. If today's video helped you and you know someone that could benefit from it, share it with them. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you may do so now. See you later.